kind of, now that you're an alumni, what kind of practice protocol are you using, or how have you kind of used the information from the group to kind of continue your practice, or use the
Yeah.
information program to continue your practice?
So basically, whenever I have a presentation, either official or a personal, like going to a conference, I try to prepare at home and then go and speak. But then, when I'm in the middle of the speech, some of my flow of thought will be more faster, and I will screw up the speed.
Okay.
Then when I reflect, I say, I am either fast or slow. So my whole learning goes for a toss, when I start speaking.
Yes. Yeah, that's a challenge. And that just, again, just takes practice, right? The more you do
Yeah.
it, the more you're in those situations and you keep the pace slower, and you practice keeping the pace slower, the more you'll get comfortable, and that will become your new norm of how you operate. But in our conversation right now, you kind of jumped into this fast, slow kind of,
Mhm.
and I do notice the faster that you go, the more the sounds kind of mesh together. Instead
Yes.
of the slower pace, there's more precision and deliberateness to the pronunciation.
Right.
Um, and the slower pace definitely helps the rhythm stay more consistent in that up and down pace. Okay. So what kind of presentations are you doing? What situations are you in where you have presentations to do?
Yeah, mostly on the business proposal. So basically, when you have some idea, you have to influence our people for a budget, or for like how do I get more traction. And you just noticed I'm using too many times,
Okay.
and I'm unable to get rid of that. Maybe my flow is not proper, and that's why I'm filling it up with so I see that as a non-word I'm using all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is something that I actually recommend to overcome that.
Mhm.
Record yourself speaking, and
Mhm.
record yourself frequently, and be deliberate about the pace that you're using and the filler words.
Mhm.
So as you are just every day kind of say, okay, I'm going to do just a 2 minute recording. I'm going to talk about my day, what happened. I mean, it can be on anything, any
Right.
topic. But when you're recording yourself, it feels almost like you're on the spot with a presentation. It's as close as you can get, I think, to being on spot um, while you're still alone. Okay. Is
Right.
recording yourself, because it's like once that once you push play on your phone or whatever recorder you're using, then you start then you're kind of like, it kicks you into this, okay, I better do this right. So pace and filler words, be aware as you are recording yourself, and it will make a big difference. You're not going to want to record yourself. Abby says, I agree, recording makes me feel nervous. It's true. It does bring on those similar nerves to presenting. So if you're really wanting to get into that presenting mode and overcome some of these challenges, that's what I would recommend.
And one again, your suggestion. So when I present the big critical presentation,
Uh-huh.
would you recommend me to rehearse? That means I write my script and read, memorize. Because when I read, I'm like I'm more slow. But when I speak without reading, I'm like kind of irregular. It goes up, goes slow. So what
Right.
would be your recommendation?
Yeah, it depends on the person and the situation. I think sometimes it's not very practical to write it word for word and memorize because of just time constraints.
Right.
So I myself like to get more into the habit of having an outline, recording myself speaking to the outline and saying it not word for word, but just practicing more of that free flowing speech based on my outline, and getting more comfortable in that mode, so that you're ready for the presentation and can kind of be flexible. Because once you kind of memorize something and
Yeah.
you get thrown off, then you get kind of flustered because you're like, okay, where was I? How can
Right.
I get back to where I was, instead
Right.
of going with the flow of how the presentation needs to go and feeling the audience and things like that. So I feel like if you can get into a good habit of practicing beforehand by recording yourself with an outline and being conscious of, am I using filler words? Am I going at the right pace? And have that be front of mind as you're practicing with that recording. Then when you go into the presentation, you'll be much more able to go with the flow and to be able to still use those skills that you want to use, like slowing down and not using as many filler words.
Understand. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good questions. Okay, yeah, go ahead and try that and then come back and let us know how it goes, okay?
Sure, sure, I will. Thank you.
Thanks, Simon.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, let's see. All right, we are going to need to end here. Let me just kind of review the chat here. Yeah, Abby's kind of saying if you memorize your script and you're thrown off, really becomes a problem. It's happened to me before. Yeah, I've felt the same way. You kind of get flustered if you don't stay on script. In most situations, and I feel like the skill of being able to speak clearly without it being a script is a very strong skill to have and a strong skill to practice, because then you can be in any situation and feel that confidence and that clarity in conversation, or you're asked, randomly to get up in front of people and say something. It really does help the situation. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. And we will see you next time. Okay. And keep practicing, keep working, stay consistent, and we'll see you next time.